Hi everyone, this is Katie Gillespie, and today I'm joined by Orna Sheeran and Bradley Hall to present to you our future scanning project involving information technology. In our presentation today, we're going to discuss a couple of topics upon the history of information technology, to what the world of information technology is like in today's society, the issues and advantages of information technology, as well as what the future has in store 5, 10, and 15 years from now. During this presentation, Orna, Bradley, and I will discuss a couple of drastic claims regarding the future of information technology. It is important to note as a disclaimer before starting this presentation that no one can predict what the future has in store, especially in the ever-changing field of information technology. So the claims that we are about to make are completely our own thoughts and beliefs based upon prior research. Before we start making claims about the future of information technology, it is important that we start with discussing the past origins. Now, by definition, information technology is the study or use of systems for storing, retrieving, and sending information. The earliest form of information technology can be found way back in 3000 BC to 1450 AD, which is known as the pre-mechanical age. From 1450 to 1840 is the mechanical age. 1840 to 1940 we move into the electromechanical age. In 1940 to 2000 is the electric age. The earliest form of information technology can be found back between 3000 BC and 1450 AD. This time period can be defined as the pre-mechanical age. During this time, humans were searching for ways to communicate with each other using common language. At the time, they created an innovative way to store and send information to others by simply pecking out rock surface with a stone chisel and another stone to hammer to create abstract drawings, modernly known as petroglyphics. These stone artworks soon developed massively across the world as a source of communication and a way to send vital messages to communities, as well as a way to store ancient stories about a primitive society. As the practice of petroglyphics faded during the development of language across the world, we moved to the years 1450 and 1840, where numerous scientific revolutions laid down fundamental milestones to promote the generation of the type of technologies that we know today. This era is known as the mechanical age, and it is where we start to see an outburst in technology. In the mechanical age, we start to see the connections between the types of technologies used and invented by our ancestors and the technology that we use today. As there was a peak in interest regarding computation and data, many were eager to invent the newest trend in communication and technology. One gentleman in particular, John Napier, proposed a new methodology when solving mathematical equations. Napier's invention takes us to 1614, where he introduced the world to a mathematical process called logarithm. This process is computed by counting repeated multiplications of a single factor. In the following years, another inventor, William Oughtred, used Napier's technology and engineered a way to calculate problems involving multiplication and division in 1622. He did this with the invention of the slide rule, when he placed two scales parallel to each other and a sliding device to read the distance relationship, which inevitably gave the user a correct multiplication or division answer. This is one of the most primitive forms of information technology being engineered in regards to retrieving information. Throughout the 17th and 18th century, many philosophers expanded their ideas and knowledge on language, mathematics, and arts. The 19th century is where we start to see a climb towards the type of information technology that we know today. First, we had Alessandro Volta create the first volcanic battery in just 1800, after he was actually having an altercation with a fellow scientist, Luigi Galvani, over frog legs. A computer pioneer, Charles Babbage, designed the first programmable invention to store punch cards known as the analytical engine in just 1834, leading to a mathematician, Augusta Adam Bryan, being the first to describe how codes could create letters and symbols as well as numbers, setting a new foundation for the future of computer programming even until her death in 1852. Between the 1840s and the 1940s, the world was booming with new inventions and different types of technologies. IT and communication went hand in hand during this era as telecommunications became a new stepping stone towards modern-day technology. For example, in 1837, inventors William Cooke and Charles Wheatstone developed the first telegraph to send messages across longer distances. They did this by sending them through electrical signals, which paved the way for Samuel Morse to create an even more monumental way of communication known as Morse code in 1838. Morse code was just one of the iconic inventions that were developed one after another during this time period. We moved to where we had Thomas Bell transmitting the first intelligible speech in 1876 and introducing the world to the telephone using telegraph wires from just 40 years past. By the mid-1940s, the world was introduced to a company that would change the way that we see and use technology today, leading society through the electric age. The International Business Machines, more commonly known as IBM, started back in 1911. However, it wasn't until 1944 when they became a common household name with the creation of the Mark I. The Mark I was a relay-based calculator. It was able to produce mathematical tables and was actually used during World War II to see if detonating an atomic bomb would be a viable choice during that time. Moving forward 7 years to 1951, we see the first commercially successful electronic computer that had a general purpose to be created by UNIVAC, designed for mainly for business administrative roles to perform fast and simple arithmetic and data transport options. Then going back to IBM in 1952, they introduced the IBM 701, which was the first commercially scientific computer, leading into the 1960s where the expansion of IT developed drastically. Between the first computer accessories coming out to the market like the mouse in 1963, to the first computer languages like BASIC being developed in 1965, and even IBM coming out with new ways to store data through floppy disk in 1967. This was a time period of innovation, and society was jumping on it fast to see what the next big product was going to be. This led to companies like Intel to be created and create the first commercially available microprocessor. With all this development and improvement in the technological world, it was only a matter of time before computer programmers found a way to connect all of these technologies together through one common ground. This led to the international connections of ARPANET, which allowed multiple computers to communicate on one network. It wasn't until 1983 when ARPANET adopted TCP where it was a place to connect networks with networks that became modernly known as the Internet. I could go on and on about all the leaps in technology that we made in the 20th and 21st century, as we had some great major leaders in the IT world emerge in this era. However, I'm going to let Orna take over and discuss what the world of IT looks like in today's society.
Information technology connects us to everything in our modern world, from the way that we communicate to one another to our advances in our healthcare system, and even how we improve our agricultural development. For our future scanning project, we are going to discuss what the next 5, 10, and 15 years of information technology will hold while focusing on how the hardware inside our technology will be changing, to how we are going to use the advances to improve our healthcare system, how we communicate with one another, and finally, what discoveries are possible. The IT field is an incredibly fast-paced world that evolves daily. It's almost impossible to predict the future when talking about such a vast and diverse business. However, in the next 5 years, we'll see how our trends today in the IT world will change our society. Remember back in 2010 where we actually had laptops and computers that weighed more than 5 pounds? Where they had an input to put CDs for your kids to watch movies on road trips? It almost seems like a primitive world when you're looking back at it now. To get into the more hardware side of the IT world, there's a theory out there called Moore's Law that says that the overall processing power of computers will double every 2 years. This theory does date back to the 70s, but still prevalent today. We have seen how computers and other technologies have gotten into the trend of being particularly thin in size, making them lighter overall. Yet, we are improving the processing power somehow. Within the next 5 years, this trend will continue and be built upon as our processors will become almost nano size, and our hardware and our technologies are going to become more and more high in processing power. Another trend that we're going to see is the expansion of the glass displays within the next 5 years. From our tablets being completely transparent with the use of handheld display glass, as well as electrochromatic glass with 3D productions, to our car console entertainment systems being part of an automotive glass display, and even our children's classrooms being converted from the dingy smartboard technology to a more interactive wall format glass display. The next 5 years are all about user interaction and the ease of durability of our products. By the year 2030, we're going to think of 2019 as a prehistoric decade. 10 years from now, the IT community will make strides towards a better society that we can't even fathom yet. First, I want to take you back to when you were a kid in school. The time where the teacher asked you, if you could have any superpower in the world, what would it be? I, for one, always said that I wish I could read people's minds. By the year 2030, this is going to be our reality. Using IT to neurohack will be the future of criminal justice fields around the globe. The term neurohacking is defined by a form of brain stimulation. By sending electromagnetic waves to your brain to stimulate a memory or even a feeling, we will be able to use this to see each other's past. Neurohacking is going to be used vastly amongst our upper-level judicial system to, simply put it, read the minds of terrorists, criminals, and others that pose a threat to our society. If you're a fan of the Divergent series, you can almost think of it like that, where you are visualizing something in your head that's physically being displayed on a screen for others to see. However, with neurohacking, you don't have control as to what would pop up on the screen. You may not even recall the memory that's being stimulated by this process until the electromagnetic waves pulsate through your brain. Another big leap in our IT community by the year 2030 is the advancements through predictive modeling. Now, predictive modeling is the process that uses data mining and probability to forecast outcomes. I, being part of the largest healthcare system in North Carolina, can attest that predictive modeling is going to make some major milestones and breakthrough in the world of healthcare and technology. As it uses algorithms to connect big data as its mining source to forecast the future, predictive modeling and the coding language Python are going to allow patients to have personalized healthcare plans and provide the best treatments on an individualized basis based upon their illness and even social factors like determinants of health. With the increase in clinical, pathological, and genomic data, predictive modeling will be used to forecast the future of even an infant before they're even born and have left the womb, so they can go ahead and decrease the risk of disease to see what the parents can do to protect their children. A third movement in the IT world in terms of communication by the year 2030 is the increasing use of VR. Virtual reality has made its own appearance to the market over the last 5 years. From providing us with headsets that we go ahead and use to think we're on a thrilling roller coaster ride, to experiencing landmarks around the world that we don't have the opportunity to go to in person. 10 years from now, VR headsets are going to become a common piece of technology in every modern world's household that is going to revolutionize how we communicate. Forget FaceTime and Skype or whatever it is that you use to video chat. 10 years from now, we're going to be able to use VR for our friends and family and then be able to use avatars of ourselves so it seems like we're actually there with them in person. It'll be set up like a normal Skype or FaceTime call, and instead of simply waiting for the other line's face to pop up or for a poor connection screen to pop up, you'll be transported into that person's location of where they're calling from. So instead of the lackluster FaceTime calls to family members in exotic locations, you'll be able to experience the beauty with them. Moving forward 15 years from now, by the year 2035, the evolution of the IT world will be extraordinary. Go ahead in your heads picture what you think the modern society will look like. By the year 2035, we aren't quite going to have flying cars just yet, but our use of technology and microfiber optics will be extraordinary. 15 years from now, our rise in AI or artificial intelligence will generally be a good thing. Robots and artificial intelligence will outperform humans both physically and intellectually and will run the entire business world themselves. This would give humans and society the opportunity to enjoy social opportunities that they never had the opportunity to enjoy before themselves. It could also lead to some new breakthroughs, as these fully educated robots will continue working diligently, faster, more efficiently, and overall less costly, which will cause mass production and ensure that most of what science knows will be thanks to the discoveries made by these AI beings. With the increased use of AI workers, there will be a decreased cost on technology being produced while making them more accessible to the public market. With the decreased cost in production, there will inevitably be a decreased cost in our goods, especially those higher-end technological goods like solar panels, for example. 15 years from now, globally, there will be movements to push for a more sustainable planet. Many will take advantage of the decreased cost in our technology and equipment to create these eco-technic societies that encompass sustainability with high-tech equipment. AI beings will be able to mass-produce solar panels, wind turbines, hydraulic technology, and be able to move our nation forward in building a healthier, more sustainable planet due to these lower costs. Next, I came across a video from Corning that's called A Day Made of Glass, which will give you more insight as to what I'm referring to when I'm talking about our glass displays on our technologies. apologize for stopping the video short, but I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of an example as to what I'm referring to when I talk about our glass display settings as well as fiber optics and how they're going to revolutionize our home, our classrooms, and how we learn and our interconnection through that, and even how we connect with others in our healthcare society. Our future world is going to revolve around user connection and interaction. From glass displays to smaller yet faster products to robot beings taking over our business world, society is going to revolve around the use of interaction and user connectivity. The future of information technology may not be certain, but we can assure ourselves that it will be nothing if not revolutionary. Thank you all for listening to our future scanning project, and we hope that you have enjoyed hearing about the insights that we had in regards to the upcoming milestones in our world of information technology.
Information technology has many leaders in innovation. One of them is Linus Torvalds, the developer of the Linux kernel. The Linux kernel is the basis for operating systems like Linux, Unix, Ubuntu, the Chrome operating system, and Android. He has worked on the Git project as well as helped develop Subsurface. Git is software for version and revision control, and Subsurface is for dive logging and planning software. These are all considered major innovations within the computer science field, as they have created easier ways to distribute software, new, more stable operating systems, and a better way to log, plan, and control diving missions. No list would be complete without Bill Gates, the founder of Microsoft. This is the largest PC software company. Windows started as a partnership with IBM as an operating system, and DOS was born. In 1985, the first Windows operating system, OS/2, was released, and personal computing was changed forever. Also, the list wouldn't be complete without Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple Inc. Apple is considered to be a pioneer in the microcomputer revolution. Apple sold their first computer, the Apple I, in 1976, and was the first to introduce the laser writer, which is the first laser printer using vector graphics. Apple Inc. is considered to be an innovator in many facets of IT, from phone, digital media, and computers. Jeff Bezos, the founder of Amazon, is also on this list. He started Amazon as an online bookstore and has expanded into selling literally everything, from pantyhose to kitchen sinks. It is currently the largest online retail company and has really changed the way people shop. Just think about the fact that there's a holiday, Prime Day, created just for shopping. Amazon and Bezos are considered leaders in the IT field due to the way that they have changed the face of both online and brick-and-mortar shopping. Evan Spiegel is the co-founder of Snap Inc., and he has pushed the pace for all other similar platforms to follow or get left behind. He has set a pace of 70 million people using augmented reality snaps each day. Augmented reality snaps are those cute little ears and noses and other filters that people use on Snapchat and other social media platforms. He's considered an innovator in IT as he has changed the face of instant messaging. We also have Elon Musk. He's the founder of Tesla, SpaceX, PayPal, the Boring Company, Neuralink. So PayPal started as X.com, an online bank predecessor to PayPal. Once PayPal was established, they bought eBay. He is also the co-founder of Zip2. He is considered a major entrepreneur and an innovator in IT, as he has changed the way people shop online, the way they bank online, the way they think about space travel and transportation systems. Also, Tesla is leading the way in self-driving cars, which we'll talk about later in the presentation. Lastly, we have Dr. Jennifer Doudna. She's the co-developer of CRISPR. We'll talk more about CRISPR later on in the presentation as well, but she is an American biochemist at the forefront of CRISPR technology. Dr. Emmanuel Charpentier and Dr. Doudna were the first two to propose that this technology could be used for the programmable editing of genomes. So basically what it is they take a little piece of the gene and they pull that out and they replace it with something else. This is now one of the most innovative and significant discoveries in biology. There are some major trends in IT today, and we'll take a look at a few of those. Augmented analytics. The approach of automating business analytics through the use of machine learning and natural language processing enables data sharing. manipulation, and presentation of that data in easier, more understandable forms. Users can also go beyond opinion and bias, and it allows people to get a real insight and act quickly and accurately on the data that they're getting. This is a huge step for businesses who no longer have to waste thousands and millions of dollars on data when it will be there firsthand right away when they need it. Digital twins. This is kind of an interesting concept. The idea originated in NASA, and it's the convergence of the physical and virtual world. Essentially, there's virtual replicas of physical devices, and data scientists and IT pros can run simulations before actual devices are built and deployed. And a digital twin can be something as large as a city. This is really helpful in the development of infrastructure and roads because people can see how the roads are going to work and what the traffic patterns will be like long before the roads are ever actually even built. We also have blockchain, and we hear a lot about blockchain nowadays along with cryptocurrency. And basically what this allows consumers and suppliers to do is connect directly. It keeps financial exchanges secure and provides a decentralized database for all of those transactions. Blockchain is small now at around $20 billion, but this is going to increase over the next decade as banks and other firms see this as a way to speed up settlements and cut costs. So, how blockchain works. Say A wants to send money to B. Well, the transaction is represented online as a block, kind of like a piece of a puzzle. And the block is broadcast to every party in the network. And all the parties in the network then approve that transaction as valid. And then the block is added to the chain, kind of like when you crochet, you have this big long chain of things. And this provides an indelible and transparent record of the transactions. Once that is completed, the money moves from A to B. The next thing that we have is smart spaces. Smart spaces are part of ubiquitous computing, and this just means that computers are everywhere in our world. Part of regular environments that are equipped with visual and audio sensing systems that can kind of read the people in the room and adapt their desires without people having to wear any special equipment. This is the future of home and office spaces. And basically what this is going to do is you'll be at home and it'll start to get dark outside, so the lights will come on in your house. That sort of thing is what we're looking at now for smart spaces. And of course, over the course of the next 10 to 20 years, we'll see computers be able to do more like, oh, it's dinner time. We can go ahead and preheat the oven. Also, we're looking at autonomous things. Autonomous things, or the Internet of Autonomous Things, is emerging technology that allows computers in the physical environment and doesn't have any human direction there, allowing them to freely interact with society at large. This sounds kind of scary, but there are some things right now that are actually working. For example, they have drones that examine fields and determines if the crop is ready for harvest. If it is, at that point it dispatches the harvesters to harvest the field. The autonomous things of the future, by 2021, swarm intelligence will be at the core of at least 30% of AI enhanced systems. Vehicles will be able to communicate with one another to manage traffic flows, and by 2021, at least 10% of all vehicles are going to have some level of self-driving capabilities. And we'll talk about that more in just a little bit. Immersive experiences. Many of us have experienced immersive experiences, and basically these are illusory environments that surround the user and make them feel as if they're inside the actual experience. So we see that in virtual reality and augmented reality. These allow for people to experience things that otherwise would not be possible for them, and allows products to be tested prior to release, which cuts costs for companies in a large way. There are some trends of the future that we can look at as well. The first thing is the Internet of Things. Now, the Internet of Things is an interconnection of computer devices that are embedded in objects that can send and receive data via the internet. Some things that we currently have that are part of the Internet of Things are the Nest, smart locks, smart mirrors, smart TVs, smart speakers. These things are all designed to make life easier for us by automating daily tasks. I know that personally, every morning I ask my Google Home what the weather's going to be like before I leave the house for the day. We also have self-driving cars. This is kind of an interesting concept for me. Cars where human drivers are never required to take command or control of the vehicle. They use sensors and software to navigate and drive the vehicle. Major companies that have this type of technology currently are Nissan, Google, Uber, and Tesla. However, other major manufacturers have varying degrees of this technology as well. Self-driving cars have different levels of autonomy. Different cars are capable of different levels of self-driving and are often described by researchers on a scale of 0 to 5. At level 0, all systems are controlled by humans. At level 1, certain systems like cruise control or automatic braking may be controlled by the car, but only one at a time, and there definitely needs to be a human driver there. At level 2, the car offers at least 2 simultaneous automatic functions, maybe acceleration and steering, but it requires a human for safe operation. At level 3, the car can manage all safety critical functions under certain conditions, but the driver is expected to take over when alerted. Level 4, the car is fully autonomous in some driving scenarios, though not all, so there still needs to be a human behind the wheel. At level 5, the car is completely capable of self-driving in every situation, and there does not need to be a human behind the wheel. However, passengers are always welcome. We're also going to talk about artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence is a pretty scary topic for a lot of people. I think anybody who's seen any of the Terminator movies, that's where their mind automatically goes. Artificial intelligence is computer systems that are able to perform tasks that usually require human intelligence. These tasks include things like speech recognition, decision making, and visual perceptions. There are some risks to artificial intelligence. The AI is designed to do something destructive. That is a major risk. And when we talk about things like that, we're talking about artificial weapons and artificial intelligence wars. Danger that AI levels increase in intelligence and autonomy, that is not necessarily reality, but it is a risk. The AI is designed to do something beneficial, but it develops a damaging manner. Let's take an example. You would ask your smart car to get you to your child's school as fast as possible, and it quite literally does that. It does not do what you want, but it does do exactly what you ask for, and that could end up being a problem. So let's talk about some myths and facts about artificial intelligence. So a couple of myths are that superintelligence by 2100 is inevitable, and another side says superintelligence by 2100 is impossible. The fact is, it could be in decades, it could be in centuries, and it could happen never. AI experts disagree, and we simply just don't know. Another myth is that only Luddites worry about AI. The fact is that there are many top AI researchers who are also concerned. Mythical worry number 3, AI is turning evil and AI is turning conscious. The actual worry is that AI is turning competent with goals that are not aligned with ours. The myth is that robots are the main concern. The fact is that misaligned intelligence is the main concern. A computer doesn't need a body, it only needs an internet connection. The myth is that AI can't control humans. The fact is that intelligence enables control. As humans, we can control tigers because we're smarter. And the fact is that AI could become smarter than us. The myth is machines can't have goals. Well, the fact is that a heat-seeking missile has a goal. Another mythical worry is that superintelligence is just years away. An actual worry needs to be that it's at least decades away, but it may take that long to make it safe. We just don't know. There are just too many variables out there for AI in order to know what is going to really happen, and our best defense is to plan ahead. We also want to talk about cognitive technology when we're talking about AI. Cognitive technology is products that are within the AI field. And one example of this is IBM's Watson. IBM's Watson learns, makes decisions, and becomes smarter the longer that it is active. It has played chess with the masters and has won. So we can see that it's actually learning from its mistakes the longer that it's online. We were talking about this earlier when we were talking about Dr. Dudna, and gene editing is one of the new biological sciences that is out there. And this is basically the process of making a small controlled change in the DNA of a living being and producing a new quote unquote product. And this is usually done through CRISPR. And what CRISPR is a segment of DNA containing short repetitions of base sequences involved in the defense mechanisms or the prokaryotic organisms of viruses. In terms of what I was just talking about, is a genetic engineering tool, CRISPR, that uses the CRISPR sequence of DNA and its associated proteins to edit the base pairs of a gene. In the US, gene editing is controlled by the federal government. However, in China, it is not. And Chinese doctors have claimed to use CRISPR to create the first genetically edited babies. This, of course, brings up ethical concerns about designer babies and parents making decisions that may or may not necessarily be what's best for the baby and more about what it is that they want specifically. However, since this is not traditionally done on humans and in many cases is just in the base steps, this topic is far from over for discussion. We're also going to talk about 3D printed replacement organs. These are organs that are printed on a 3D printer using 3D printing techniques and are designed for organ transplantation. This will help solve the organ shortage problem. However, again, it creates an ethical dilemma regarding who can get a transplant based on cost and need. So there are some cons to information technology, as we can see, but there's also some pros as well, and we'll talk about a few of those. One of the biggest cons is malware and viruses. As we continue to rely more heavily on the internet for daily tasks like banking, bill paying, or even online education, this opens us up as consumers to more malware and virus attacks. Now, there is a difference between malware and viruses. Malware is software that is designed to disrupt, damage, or gain unauthorized access to a system. Now, viruses are a code that is designed to copy itself over and over and over, and then it works its way through the computer system, and basically its intention is to corrupt or destroy your data. Neither one is good, however, a virus probably could do more damage than malware ever could. We also have ransomware and security issues. Ransomware is on the rise. It is malicious software that is designed to block the user from their computer until a fee is paid, and then theoretically access is restored. However, since most people can't always get rid of all the ransomware on their computer, this opens up the fact that once you pay, the ransomers may hold your computer hostage over and over and over again. Some other security issues to look at are unsecured wireless networks. I know in my neighborhood alone, there's several unsecured wireless networks that are available just as I drive up and down the road. And should I be so inclined, I would be able to do all kinds of malicious things on these people's unsecured wireless networks. Unsecure email in corporate environments is also a huge issue. While here at Western, the email is pretty secure, there are companies out there who just use a regular POP3 email account with zero security on it. Undersecured mobile devices. As more and more companies expect their employees to do business on mobile phones, not having the appropriate security software on your phone can be a real problem. Also, antiviruses that are not maintained. There is no point to having an antivirus software on your computer if you don't update it regularly. And non-existent firewalls. This blocks people from being able to get into your computer. And I would have to say probably 85% of the people that I run into on a daily basis never have a firewall on their computer. There are some pros to information technology as well. Online education, all of us are taking advantage of it by being in this class online, but this allows more people to have access to college level classes than ever before. And opportunities that were once impossible for many users are available to them. Also, more adult students are returning to school for job training, to complete degrees that they started when they were younger, or to change careers as well. Technology has boosted jobs in the knowledge-intensive sectors as well, like medicine, education, and professional services. We can see from the chart on the left that the number of accountants over the past 30 years has risen every year, and we have the internet and technology to thank for that. Also, it has increased the global economy. It is a small, small world. The increase in the use of the internet has made the world smaller and makes it smaller every day. It has allowed businesses to become global more rapidly, and it makes it easier for companies to make decisions and communicate. Thank you for listening to this portion of the presentation. All references for this portion of the presentation can be found in the works cited included in our project submission. Thank you.